This is Dragon's Head. Situated northwest of Glintmore in Region 5 on the Dragon-shaped peninsula, we're one of the most populated settlements with the busiest marketplace in the entire game. And what I've learned from running this settlement is that it's bloody hard. As such, this video we're going to go through every single thing there is to know about settlements, management, tier progression, and a little bit of empires. At the end, I've also got new resources to help manage all the tiers progressions and upgrades. First things first is to get your settlement writ ready. If you haven't gotten that yet, check out the How to Get a Settlement guide on my channel. Pressing B accesses the build menu. Here is where you can access all of the structures for your settlement, expanding the land claim, as well as placing the settlement token itself. The token will use an area of about 800 tiles around it, which can be increased later. Placement is important. You want to ideally be close to at least 2 different biomes. River or ocean access will also be super helpful. You can't move your token at all. If you decide to change your mind, you can deconstruct your totem and get your writ back. Keep in mind this resets all technology research and supplies if you do so. You can now press L to open the claim menu and go through it all. You can select which claim you're actually looking at the top here. You can be part of more than one claim and even own more than one. The status page gives an overview of the claim and your permissions. Most importantly, let's take a look at total area, stability, upkeep, and supplies. Supplies are used for research and upkeep for your claim, which is how long it will last before buildings start decaying and anyone can take ownership from you. Supplies are these types of cargo items made from the 5 base materials: wood, stone, metal, cloth, and leather. Timber gives the least out of them all as it's the easiest, and the rest give the same starting at 250 for tier 1. You can also add supplies by purchasing from Rumba at a 0.75 to 1 ratio, so 1000 coins is 750 supplies. Often you can get a better deal than this by looking at your local markets and seeing what something like ingots are worth. For example, I can often buy 10 ingots for 250 coins for a total of 250 supplies, which is a good deal. You'll also be able to pay strangers to supply your claim, which we'll discuss later. Upkeep on the claim is solely determined by size and the stability. The more tiles you have, the more the upkeep increases. The first few thousand tiles are cheap, and your claim will get much more expensive if you choose to expand. Stability is reduced when you completely surround sections of land like this, or make large snaking claims. By doing this, you multiply your upkeep costs because you effectively still own this land. By keeping upkeep small, maintaining even a solo settlement is reasonably easy. Numbers may change, but 250 supplies is about 31 hours at base size, meaning with just 10 stacks of material, you'll get about 4 weeks worth. If you run out of supplies, everything will start decaying until it all deletes, or someone walks up to the claim and literally takes ownership of it from themselves. They can then add supplies or loot the treasury, deconstruct and collect the writ, and so on. So be sure not to let it run to 0. The members screen will list all members of the claim and their permissions. By default, anyone, including non-members, can use the facilities of a claim, much like the starting town. You can add a member on this screen to give them additional permissions. When adding or viewing a member, it'll show their highest level profession. Just being in a settlement doesn't give any additional access. Building will allow them to build, move, and deconstruct structures. Storage will give them access to any of the shared storage chests on the claim. They will not be able to access claim market stalls, however. This is very all or nothing, and the devs are aware of this. More detailed and granular storage permissions will be coming soon. Officer gives them both building and storage permissions, and it will also allow them to change the permissions of other non-officers. They can kick other players from the settlement, but not add new ones. They don't have any other access to other functions we're going to be talking about, so they're there just to help moderate players. From this menu, we can also promote co-owners or pass on ownership to someone else. Co-owners can do pretty much everything you can do. The research tab is where you'll advance your tier to allow for more advanced buildings, as well as unlock things such as more claim space, maximum supplies, population, and the empire system. Research costs supplies and does take some time. To unlock the next tier of settlement, you also need to complete the current tier of codexes. So, to get to tier 3, you need 10 tier 2 codexes. For tier 4, you need 15 tier 3 codexes and so on, increasing by 5 each tier. The exception is tier 9 codexes, which you'll need 50 of instead of 45. To get the higher tier codexes, you need to have higher tier refined materials, using that tier's mats and 2 of the previous tiers refined. This means that each tier more than doubles in effort to obtain, making higher tier settlements a large group effort over a long period. I'd say at least 6 months minimum, and those batshit insane solo settlement players that we love. Let me be clear. As of today, tier 1 to tier 10 will take 108,800 tier 1 resources each. Not that that's ever stopped any of you guys from doing it anyway, you absolute masochists. A higher tier unlocks the ability to place tiered buildings, including the first tier 2 upgrade, which is free. Our settlement is tier 5, meaning that we have the ability to place tier 5 crafting stations, which are required to work on the tier 5 items and resources. Keeping in mind that ruined towns have a maximum of tier 2, that means players will be encouraged to work at higher tier player settlements to continue the progression. To unlock crafting stations, you'll need to first buy the settlement building recipes from Rumba and use it. Then you can discover it in the compendium just like crafting recipes. So you'll also need to pick up the next tier of wood trunks and stone chunks to get started, for example. At tier 3 onwards, it'll also start requiring refined materials as well. There is an order you'll also need to do for these structures, as you can't get a loom until you get a carpentry station and so on. Instead of reading all these out to you, our surf and turf master chef Esper cooked up a nice visual guide for you on screen and in the description. Back to the claim menu, on the treasury screen you'll see hex coins generated by your settlement. Hex coins are earned as people work inside your settlement and at your stations. Specifically, it's based off of experience earned by players in your claim. This means as people level up, use better equipment and work on higher tier crafts, you'll generate more hex coin. It can be withdrawn by any co-owner of the settlement, but not deposited. On this screen, you'll be able to set up buying supplies from players. Normally only settlement members can donate supplies, but whenever your supplies are set below this number, anyone can add more. Coins per supply will pay out to anyone who adds them. You can set it to a decimal, and I wouldn't go much higher than 1 anyway. If you set it to 0, anyone can donate supplies for free. Treasury funds also directly tie to the market stalls you build in your claim. Market stalls allow you to configure buy and sell offers for different quantities of items. Unlike the town market where every item is sold individually, you can even trade items for specific items. This is cool because you can buy clay at less than 1 per, for example. You can also set it to 0 so it acts as a place for your claim members to donate resources for settlement upgrades. While using the market mode specifically, any item bought or sold will withdraw and deposit from the treasury. Be very, very careful with these. They're great for keeping trade within the settlement, but triple check your orders. If you set up a bad trade, someone can and will drain your entire treasury. In the recruitment tab, you'll be able to add openings for members to join without being invited directly. Here you can set slots for specific professions at specific levels, or just a blanket anyone is welcome. Anyone who joins will have no extra permissions by default. Finally, the Empire tab. This is unlocked after spending 20,000 supplies on the research. From here, you'll be either able to create or join an empire. Empires are the entirely cosmetic system you see all over the map. It has absolutely no gameplay effect on the settlement or any other settlements. Your settlement can exist in another empire and they will have no effect on you. In this video, we'll just speedrun the empire basics to get you started. Creating an empire costs 2,500 shards, 5 USD of the real-life paid currency. If you're in early access, you get 10,000 for supporting the game early as well. Once you've created one, you'll get access to the Hexite Forge in the build menu, where you can place and generate Hexite capsules, used to build and charge watchtowers. These cost shards as well, but are more costly in supplies. At current rates, a tower that is close and touching your capital will be charged for 41 days per capsule. Each capsule is 100 shards and 1,000 supplies, so you'd be looking at just over 200 days per tower per dollar. Basically nothing for a small empire, but can get expensive quickly if you go big stupid like me. Anyone can also donate shards to the empire too. Instead of creating an empire, you can also join one that you're allied with. Your leaders will be shown on the map and on the settlement token, and you'll also make their towers close to you cheaper if you're far away from the capital. You don't need to be within the borders or even in the same region to ally with an empire, as seen with Umbilica's alliance. There's a few more things I want to go over before I'm satisfied with calling this an everything guide. Here's a taster palette of all the floors in the game. There's a few types, using either pebbles or the more expensive planks. Each tier uses their own colors. Walls look pretty, keep the bad guys out and your diligent workers in. Light keeps the enemies away, created from campfires, bonfires, or braziers. Gates can also be made which have their own built-in light sources. Walls and gates can be connected to each other. You can move anything except pavement for free and instantly. Deconstructing most things only gives partial resources back. You'll always get your refined, but you only get half the other items. You always get your wall materials back, and you never get your pavement materials back. The traders can be purchased and set up in your settlement for 2.5k each, letting you do your tasks and shopping without having to go back to a ruined town. You'll need someone with level 10 in their respective skill before you can purchase a voucher, but it can be traded or placed by anyone with permission. Roomba also sells additional buildings useful for your settlement. As of this video, you can buy a writ of banking for 1k that gives you a town bank, which gives everyone a large source of personal storage, or a writ of trade, which creates a town marketplace for trading. Just keep in mind that there is no tax system in this game. Each bank and market are local to the settlement they're in and not shared. Now let's take a look at a couple of resources. This is BRICO.app, a web app made by player Wiz of the large player empire Umbilica. Here you'll find the items required to craft something, or a reference to the different buildings and structures, even things like mounts, vehicles, and the trader task pools. Wiz and Umbilica are all very active, so as data becomes available, this site will become more up to date. BitPlanner is an offline desktop application made by Dandelion Guy that similarly shows the different types of crafts and tasks in the game. At the moment it functions as an index, but as more people much smarter than the lazy content creators shamelessly stealing their work come along, I'm certain it'll be improved. And I'll be right there in line to let you know. BitCraft.GUIDE is another crafting calculator / wiki web app created by player Yui. This site takes a more visual approach and lets you create a flowchart of different crafts, helping visualize big projects such as codexes. And finally, this is an all-in-one settlement tracking sheet made by Nilinka of the Trailblazers, a small faction dedicated to building roads. If you want to build roads or buy a commission for one, reach out to these guys. While the Trailblazers were building the streets, Nilinka was doing great work in the sheets. He can track your settlement profession levels, equipment, and a complete codex tracker with logging. On the right side of the codices page, you'll choose how many codexes you're trying to make, and it will show you the full list of required base materials. So for tier 3, I'd input 10 into tier 2. Back on the left, you can see your total inventory of resources. You can either track these manually by inputting the number directly, or players can submit resources at the top. Type in your name, the item, tier, and the amount, then you click the submit button and it will add a line, which is calculated on the page. You can input negative numbers to simulate withdrawals as well. If you mess up a submission, just delete the line in the log and it'll clear it. Google can be a bit buggy sometimes, so you might need to double click the submit button to get it to fire. At the bottom, you'll see the remaining resources you need highlighted, making it very easy to tell where you're at with the next tier. To make it your own, you need to click File, then Make a Copy. From there, you can share it out. All of these tools are found, you bet, in the description again, in the order shown. That wraps it up for this one. If this helped you at all, please like and sub for more videos like this. At the pace Clockwork is developing, hopefully this one isn't obsolete by at least the end of the year. Player housing will be on its way soon and should get its own guide right after this one. Anything you would like me to touch on, please leave a comment about it because I do read them all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.